So do you see the products themselves being different? I mean, would GAP still be GAP, but would the service contract encompass any other characteristics?
I think you had touched on. I'll make two comments. One is I think when you touch on service contracts or warranties that are going to be combined from the dealer, the battery certainly is the most critical component. It represents, I think it's like 30 or 40% of the vehicle price. So the protection of that battery, some of the previous versions of the F&I products that are on the market today weren't always inclusive of the propulsion battery. So I think that's going to be critically important. We've committed to that in our service contracts, whereas in the past it may have been less. I think also how you specify degradation is going to be important. But the thing that you touched on, I think, which is important, is maintenance. So maintenance, it remains a tool that is used to, obviously it's consumer friendly. They're able to prepay their maintenance and services needs, but it's also a tool that the dealers use for retention. So the more, every study that's out there shows that the more you bring a customer back into the dealership, the higher the propensity it is for that customer to come back to that dealer when it's time to buy the vehicle. And then obviously the dealer gets the customer pay on the way associated with them returning. So they don't need oil changes anymore. They're not going to need a traditional kind of hook that was bringing them back in. So the traditional maintenance on a vehicle, it needs to shift. And so battery health checks, being able to have the supportive wear and tear needs, those types of, and certainly I have a lot of questions, and maybe James, you'll have some insight on this around tire degradation. Does that happen at a higher rate now because of the weight of the vehicle or the way the weight is distributed? I think those are going to be things that we're already shifting in terms of our product offering, but I think we're really curious around the data to better understand, what's it going to look like over the next few years to ensure that we're pricing it right and that we're giving the product that the consumer ultimately sees value in.
Yeah. So James, maybe you could add some comments on that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, so I think that the main thing I would say here is that this is day one, right, of a very long journey for the manufacturers and for the consumers. The amount of variance in quality cost from one electric vehicle to another is absolutely huge. Whilst these manufacturers and the service network get used to this new technology, the costs are going to be significantly higher, particularly warranty costs. So, we have access to repair data from about 3,000 US rooftops, and we're seeing some really interesting information come through from these product launches. I mean, I would say as a general comment around selling extended warranties and service contracts on EVs, there is a genuine risk here for the consumer that maybe hasn't been there for a while with ICE. As ICE went on, people have got relative expectations about the cost of owning a vehicle, then they realize that owning a BMW is going to be more expensive probably than owning a Chevrolet. But the launch cost of these new technologies are highly variable. And we've seen one manufacturer's electric launch in the last 3 months been absolutely spectacular. The vehicle is one of the best vehicles they've ever made instantly. And another manufacturer has launched a vehicle and it is probably going to be the most expensive vehicle launch they've ever had. So, there is no clarity on that for you as a consumer right now, and there probably won't be, when the vehicles come out of warranty either. So I do think there's an opportunity here, to present insurance in its most positive light, which is shared risk amongst the same pool of owners, and that there's some real benefit there for consumers. With respect to the designing of the policies and what's actually covered, we do see once the launch vehicle has settled out into its second or third year, initial warranty costs are lower and maintenance costs are lower. So the cost of owning the vehicle for a long period of time is going to be reduced, and obviously that's going to be reflected in the vehicle service contract pricing at some point as well. However, we are seeing a trend within the data that we do think that these vehicle powertrains will last a lot longer. We've seen bolts and leaves with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles on them. I think we saw a plus 500,000 mile Nissan Leaf fairly recently. So the the batteries do fall off with regards to charge, but as an EV owner myself, you expect that. A drop off in capacity is not the same as a failure in the powertrain. But maintaining how that vehicle works on the inside is going to become, the new thing that the consumer is concerned about, and it's going to be interesting to see how the vehicle service contract industry and extended warranty industry deals with maybe moving away from obvious, failures of powertrain and hard stops to, managing consumers' expectation, which I think is going to be, the new frontier, if you like.